What you're looking at is the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. It's been given a major design update, more than a refresh. It's actually 5.5 inches longer. There's a new hood and a new hatch. And Mitsubishi considers this a sporty crossover, hence the rake to the shape. I actually think it looks like a large, fat Lancer wagon, but I mean that in a good way. And the treatment on the taillights looks pretty good as well. Move to the inside and you have a nice updated interior with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto available on a screen that is closer to the driver, so it's easier to reach, and it means Mitsubishi can get rid of their touchpad down below and recenter their cup holders, which sounds like a simple upgrade, but probably in the long term, an unnoticeable yet appreciated one. But what's it actually like to drive this thing? That's the most important question here, right? Well, I've put a few miles behind the wheel and I'm happy to report that it drives much better than I would have expected simply looking at the specs on paper. And that's because there's a small engine and a CVT at play here. However, I'm happy to report I've enjoyed this. The torquey engine helps kind of power its way through the CVT and get rid of the boring spots. Let me wait for this cyclist. And it's really a stepped CVT, whereas they're faking some gear shifts, but they're done really well. And what I don't understand is how this CVT feels better than the one Infiniti uses in the QX55, especially considering, Mitsubishi is part of the Renault Alliance along with Nissan. So there's going to be some familiarity for Nissan fans with the Mitsubishi brand moving forward, I think, as they co-develop some stuff. And we'll get to that in a little bit later because there's another vehicle I'm driving today. But back to this one. The Eclipse Cross uses a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, making a bit over 150 horsepower and a bit over 180 pound-feet of torque. And it's either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. SAWC is available on all trims, and it is a $1,600 upcharge. So the steering tuning feels pretty good. The seats are comfortable. This is a top spec version. It is the SEL Touring package, so it is the most expensive one you can buy. It has all the bells and whistles, like the dual sunroof setup and a head-up display. But all of them will have the same powertrain. All of them will be available with the all-wheel drive system, and it's Mitsubishi, so I'm a fan of the all-wheel drive system. I don't care that this is called the Eclipse Cross. I was never a big Eclipse fan, so whatever, it doesn't bug me at all. If they tried to call this an Evo, that wouldn't be great. If they tried to call this a Montero or Pajero, I would have big problems, but they're not. It's an Eclipse Cross. I'm totally fine with it. I really just never cared for the Eclipse, so whatever. Maybe the first ones were okay, and the Starion and the Eagle Talon and stuff from that era I can appreciate and enjoy. But I had a 300ZX back in the day. Whatever, I'm diverging. So there's a bit of wind noise on the road, but not much for this class. It's right in line with everything you'd expect. Again, this is top spec, so the seats are the nicest seats you can get. The screen is bright and easy to read. I have my CarPlay plugged in right now. It's wired, Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto. And if I punch it, it dips down. And it's not like an overtly whiny CVT. The only time you really notice oh right, it's still a CVT is when you go from a stop and you want to punch it for some reason. That's where it needs the most CVT-ness to keep moving. But just in general driving and even highway passing, it feels closer to an automatic, which is a very good thing and will keep people happy in this segment. So I wouldn't discount this right off the bat just because it has a CVT. This is a good CVT. It's very well programmed and tuned, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because it does have SAWC. You can hit it from normal, snow, and gravel. Those are the 3 modes available on this one. Obviously, I am just in normal. I am not going to see snow, and I am not putting this on a gravel rally stage. Though that's always fun, no matter what car you're in. Maybe we should find a way to do that at some other time. So we will get to price now. The base price of an Eclipse Cross is a very welcome just under $24,000, though I believe that is without destination and handling, so it's probably 24 plus, maybe touches 25, add again $1,600 for all-wheel drive. This is a fully loaded one. This one has every bell and whistle you can add, plus some options on top of that. So this one is pricey, but still the total MSRP with destination handling is $34,000. It is under $35,000, and that includes Mitsubishi Connect subscription, the red diamond paint, which is nice and looks extra. The SEL Touring package on top of the regular SEL is $2,100. You get heated rear seats. Both front seats are heated, which is very nice. And a few other things. And it has adaptive cruise too. So you're getting a top spec vehicle for $34,000. And in an age and era when the average transaction price has crested $40,000 for a new vehicle, that's really good. Not just under 40, but under 35 even, just so, is excellent for the most expensive Eclipse Cross you can buy. I've seen it in blue. It looks really nice in blue. However, I will say that blue with this little bit of red trim they offer is venturing very oddly into Subaru territory, and you would think Mitsubishi wouldn't want to do that. So ditch the blue one, get the red one. So this is a vehicle, and I had never driven the prior gen Eclipse Cross because I just didn't want to. This one, this is good. This is nice inside. This would be a vehicle I would, if my mom wanted to get a new car, this would be a perfect vehicle for her. She doesn't have a ton of money, and this is affordable, has all the latest, bits and pieces to keep someone happy and safe. She lives in New Hampshire, so the all-wheel drive system would be perfect. This is a great car for that. Or on the flip side, if you had a child and your child is spoiled and they need a new car, this would be a good one to consider there as well. Now, the car that would be more for you is the one we're going to take a look at next, because we're also here today to drive the new Outlander. So we're here for this one. I am more interested in the 2022 Outlander. Now, under the hood, we do not have a turbocharged engine. We have a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, and it is paired with, again, a CVT, and this model has all-wheel drive. Where the Eclipse Cross got a refresh, the Outlander is all new from the top to the bottom. On the outside, it's got less rake than the Eclipse Cross. It's more upright. It's more SUV, true SUV feeling, at least in the design. And it looks really good. One area I don't like on the outside, however, are the fake exhaust ports. Let's go ahead and ditch those. It's not an EV. It is a gas vehicle. We can have exhaust. We can show exhaust. This one is bigger in every dimension compared to the outgoing model, and it's sitting on a platform co-developed with Nissan. And I think it shows because the interior is actually fantastic. The outside looks good, but the Outlander truly shines on the inside. This is one of the only 3-row crossovers in its segment, and that comes standard, but you can fold them away if you don't need them, and Mitsubishi even itself calls them an occasional use 3rd row. 20-inch wheels come on all trims, but they're optional on the base. All other ones get them standard. The back seat, 2nd row, can recline, which is nice. You can move it forward and back and then adjust the seat back as needed too. In terms of technology, Mitsu says this is their most technological vehicle they've ever built. It has something called My Pilot Assist, which takes the adaptive cruise control and adds lane keep assist. It also slows for upcoming curves based on map data if needed. And then the top spec gets a really nice 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. You can push the gauges out of the way like you can on the Audi setup. There's a drive mode selector, which also has nice animations when you change between the two things. And then there's even has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless charging. Android Auto still requires a cable. The base price for an ES 2-wheel drive model is $25,795. Super all-wheel control, all-wheel drive system can be added to any trim for an additional $1,800. The most expensive SEL with the touring package costs $36,445 in all-wheel drive trim. But up here, you're getting a heated steering wheel, you get semi-aniline leather seating surfaces, a Bose premium sound system, a power panoramic sunroof, rear pull-up sunshades in the back. It's just a really nice place to sit inside for the fully loaded version. So the engine is only making 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, and it's adequate. It doesn't feel as properly suited as the engine does, even though that one has less power, but it's a smaller vehicle in the Eclipse Cross. I feel like the powertrain is better suited in that vehicle, where this one feels like it could benefit from a turbocharger to maybe take better use of the CVT in this heavier vehicle like it does in the Eclipse Cross. I'd love to see a V6 offered here or a forced induction 4-cylinder, but the rest of it is pretty good. The steering feel has that very typical these days on electronic power steering systems, where right in the middle it feels like there's kind of like a back and forth. There's no dead center. It's just you're either to the left or the right. And I noticed that in a lot of vehicles. It's not a Mitsubishi thing. It's a lot of vehicles with electronic power steering. But the ride quality, the quietness in the cabin, it's all really top notch here. I'm very impressed with this. The digital gauge cluster is awesome. The big screen is easy to see. I've got CarPlay up. I was listening to music. Just there's a little bit pop of color in here, which is nice to see. It's comfortable, like I said. The seats are really nicely designed. There's enough bolstering, not that you're going to be flinging this thing around. But yeah, I'm really impressed for a sub $40,000 vehicle. For sub 40, this is a very nice machine. I would like to see something else offered under the hood. On the Eclipse Cross, I was very pleasantly surprised. That powertrain was nicely suited to the vehicle, but it's a smaller vehicle. Not that this is a large one. This, is similar to like a Nissan Rogue. It's the same platform basically, but I don't know. I just feel like it needs a little bit more. That said, though, if I'm on the throttle, the where you would hear the CVT whine normally is kind of just drowned out because the cabin is so nicely acoustically shielding you from that, and that is a nice touch, not gonna lie. So I have this in normal driving mode right now. It has different driving modes down here. It's not like on the Eclipse Cross where we just set the SAWC into one of the 3 modes. This has an eco mode, a normal mode, tarmac, gravel, snow, and mud. So the tarmac is like the sport mode. There's some rally heritage in there somewhere. When you're on the throttle, it does do a good job, like the Eclipse Cross, of mirroring what you would feel in an automatic, so I can appreciate that as you get it up to speed. But I took the highway to get here. I'm on off of Ortega Highway right now, and there's a bit of body roll, but not that much for what this is. It is a very pleasant driving experience in terms of feedback and just general driving feel. Try that sentence again. It's a good experience here behind the wheel. It feels nice. It's a pleasant vehicle. Most impressive, though, has to be the interior. Mitsubishi did a really good job here. This is extremely nice inside. It actually reminds me of the new Pathfinder, which the top spec versions of those are really nice. The shift lever is intuitive enough. There's a big park button on top to put it into reverse. There's a lockout on the side, so you're not going to do that accidentally. The design of the steering wheel looks good and mirrors the exterior design a bit. I can't say enough nice things about this interior. It feels premium, and then even more so once you realize this is a vehicle under $40,000. They did a really, really nice job there. SW, because this does have SW